Okay, guys, let's continue with the next part. In my last class, guys, we have discussed about how we can, high level, high level design plan the things. And if you remember, we have launched our website on the top of EC2 instances and put some of the code rather than on the root disk. We put those data on the separate disk that's called EBS volume, and some of the static file like images we put in S3. And we might have a requirement that some of the content that we put in the static content that we put on the top of S3 storage, we might have to distribute right across the globe. Maybe you have some global business, and you want to provide a great user experience in the terms of delay and latency to your customer, right? So the best way to deliver the content of S3, where you get, I can say, one more guide, where you can get less latency or load, or I can say low latency. We use a container delivery network. So CDN, guys, is just a concept, right? The company also have this kind of facility available. But if you want to implement CDN with the use of AWS cloud, then we have a service called CloudFront. So we have discussed a lot of things, guys, about a CloudFront, but this topic is not yet complete. There's some more discussion, especially about the security of the CloudFront, and maybe some more we will discuss about those things in the future classes. But till now, guys, we have started multiple topics in parallel in the AWS. We have started EC2, we have started EBS, we have started S3, IAM, and the CloudFront. Okay, but none of the topic is complete because we can't complete one single topic without knowing the other. Okay, so there are a lot of things in the EC2 that would be depend on IAM, or maybe in CloudFront that depend on S3 on IAM, maybe, right? Okay, so what my plan is initially in my initial class is I will start some of the basics of all the services. Okay, and as we start learning about those services in detail, you will see we keep on going back to my other service like IAM or CloudForm or EBS, and start adding some more concepts on this. So technically, by the end of this program, because we are into the CSA program, and I told you my plan is not to touch only the CSA level. I am also planning to add some more advanced topic in this training. So after at the time of conclusion of this particular program, AWS CSA, you will see you will be very much comfortable and very much be enhance your knowledge in these services. But these are not only the services we have in our program. We have some more services and a lot of more services, I can say, that we have in our program, right? So what are my plan for today? My plan for today, I am again moving to the service called EBS. What is EBS? We have already discussed, guys, in our program, but there's some more concept that we very much require in the EBS to know, that I'm going to discuss again today. Okay, so my whole day, my today, we are focusing on the EBS and some more advanced concept of the EBS, I can say. Okay, second thing, for tomorrow, guys, I'm going to start a VPC. Very, very important topic, very core topic of any of the cloud, right? But for the VPC, you guys should have some basics knowledge of networking. Very basic knowledge of networking you should require. So maybe, guys, you guys know what is IP address, what is a router, what is switches, what is net mask and other things. But by chance, if you don't know those things, what is IP address or netmask or DNS or I can say router or switches, so I'll share my one video link to you guys, so you can guys go through those videos, enhance your knowledge in the networking. I'm talking about the basic networking. Okay, so tomorrow topic, guys, when I start the VPC, you guys will be comfortable with this networking term. And obviously, guys, in this training, I can't discuss about what is IP or netmask or something like this, but without knowing the networking concept, it will be harder to understand the VPC. Okay. So today's topic, guys, is more about EBS. And by chance, if we go to the time, we might touch some other topic, right? But I think for the whole day might go only on the EBS. Okay. So let's start, guys, about the EBS. Okay. Before the ABS, guys, I also want to touch one more topic here. Okay, one more service here. So if you go to management services of AWS cloud, so if you go to management, and there I think we have talked about in the management. No, none of the services we have yet talk about in the management. Okay, so but if you go to management services, there is one service on the management called CloudTrail. So let me introduce, guys, a high level about the CloudTrail, right? A very interesting service, but very much useful also. So let me touch one more service today before I go for EBS, that is called Cloud Trail. TRA, obviously AIL, right? CloudTrail. So so what is CloudTrail? Very Let me show you directly the demo, guys. Very straightforward. Right now I am into the Mumbai region. Okay, and if you go to CloudTrail, okay, what it will do for you, you guys know what is IAM, right? You guys know what is IAM. Okay. So so you can think in this way. Let's say you have one account over here, and you are the one who create this account in AWS. And you guys know, when you create your account, they ask you a debit card or the credit card, and you create the account from your email ID. So your account is the root account. So you have the root account in AWS. Okay. And normally if you work in a team in the corporate, right, you most probably have to create multiple sub accounts. Okay. And that sub account, guys, is known as IAM account or IAM users or account you have to create. But any of the IAM account you create, for example, I create one sub account, let's say with the name of Eric, or I create one account with the name of Harry. And my root account is with my email ID, let's say Vimal something email ID is created. Okay. So technically, from your root account, all the account that you create, it will be new account. But finally, if you log into any of the account, they finally landed to your AWS account, or they finally landed to the AWS tenant. Because I told you guys, according to AWS, we guys are the tenant. So tenant, like, it's like a one room they create for you, or one isolated room they create for you in the AWS data center. So finally, if you log into any of the account, you landed to your room. But yeah, in this room, okay, your root account has all the power. Eric and Harry will have limited power. Very high level, we discuss, guys, about the power. But yeah, when I go for more advanced in IAM, we'll discuss more about permission and the power and the policies, and plus also on the role also. Okay. But technically, what I'm trying to tell you guys here, from the root account, if you get this account, they will finally landed to this tenant, and whatever power they have, they can do there. So what I want to do here, I want, after Eric login, I want to check, right, at what Eric has done. Okay, maybe we have given certain power to the Eric, or we have given certain power to the Harry. I wanted to check, guys, that Harry has launched some new instance or deleted some instance at what time. So I want to see the complete visibility or the information about these users, or maybe not about these user, my user also. So at what time I delete something, or maybe I create some other account, or I delete the account, I launch the instance, I create the EBS volume. So technically, it is known as auditing. So I would like to audit my account and see what these guys has done, and which of the services they access, and they remove, and they deleted. So if you want to audit the account, okay, when I say audit means I'm talking about auditing my tenant account, auditing the AWS services, which service launch and remove and XYZ, or maybe updated. Okay. So for this, for this, we have a service called Cloud Trail. So if you go here in the Cloud Trail, and right now I'm in the Mumbai, and the Mumbai, and if you notice here, at this date, 24 2020. At this time, somebody of EC2 instance, somebody has done something on the some service, and service called source, okay, has stopped the instance. Okay. And guys, last class we conduct on 24th October, right? So there I created one cloud front. And guys, in the cloud front I explain you about invalidation, I explain you about some distribution we updated. So they create all the things whatever we've done. And by chance, guys, these things are not, for example, if you go to EC2 and launch the EC2 instance. Okay, so launching the EC2 instance, stopping the EC2 instance, deleting the or terminating the EC2 instance, whatever you do in your account are known as events. So if you want to look on the event, what event has been initiated or what has been done. Okay, normally it categorized into a concept called event management. Right. So if you want to see but this is not actually management, we just wanted to check the information. Right term is called auditing, what and who has done at what time. Okay, so I can see here, I can see here, even though if you just go for full history event here, so very clearly mentioned here, 1 minute. Where it goes, yeah, very clearly it is mentioned over here. Okay, even though, guys, this is a very interesting thing. Right, they also maintain the events of who log in. So because right now, guys, right, just right now, according to my laptop time, 31st October, 18 13 or 1813, right? It's mentioned here. So somebody at this point in time, okay, because I log in my account 8 minutes ago before this I start this training today. Okay, somebody from my account use one service called sign in. This is called console login. And who login? My root account. Root means I log in with my account, whatever email I use, but it's called root account. It is mentioned over here. Okay, somebody on 24th October use EC2 service. Okay, and if you notice here, what is this syntax, we will discuss in upcoming classes, this syntax. But it look like in AWS we have a service called EC2. And inside the EC2, guys, I told you, inside the EC2 you can do multiple things, EC2 or IP address, or I can say EBS. But in the EC2, somebody has done something on the instances. And what instance they have done, that is the instance ID we have. Because whatever you use in AWS are one kind of resources. Somebody use these resources, it is the EC2 instance, and what they done, at this point in time, they stop the instance. And who have done? The root account. Okay, maybe some of the tasks I might have done from my other account, yeah. Okay, so I think no, 11th October I created one account. Okay. Okay, and from this account I run one instance. Okay, so something like this. So everything is been is been logged. This is not the actually the meaning of the log. What is log, we will discuss, but I can say this cloud trail is the one who managed who manage the event history of whatever you have done. And guys, there's very interesting thing, because in upcoming class when I start a topic called Athena, we will connect this event management to Athena. And using the Athena, we can do some kind of analysis on the top of this. So what is this, we will discuss in the classes when I start something about analytics. But you can see it's very clear. So by chance, if you given your account to somebody else, you can, from here you can check everything, whatever they have done for you. Okay, you can check for last 30 minutes, you can check for last 1 hours or 24 hours, and you can change your calendar time also between the range. Okay, between this range, what event has been done here. Okay, there's some more concept here called insights and the uh, the trails. So guys, we will discuss about the trails when I go for a topic called CloudWatch. Okay, and there again I will come back to S3 buckets. Okay, So what is Trails and what CloudWatch we will discuss in the future. But right now, just I wanted to introduce you at the very high level about this service called CloudTrail. So anything you want to audit about your events, what is happening in your account, you can use the CloudTrail as a service. So very quick introduction, right? But yeah, we will go more in depth and customize after we understand the concept of CloudWatch. And that time, guys, because by chance, if you know CloudWatch, okay, it look like same, but it's not, guys. CloudWatch will do only if you provide the information. Okay, and CloudTrail is the one who provide the information to the CloudWatch for the events. So what I mean by this, because from my side, I haven't discussed yet the CloudWatch. So that time I will again come back to this topic. Okay. So very high level introduction. So CloudTrail is used for auditing the events. Okay. So let's come to the main topic called EBS. Okay. So what is EBS? You guys know EBS. Okay, but let me go a little bit more advanced internal about the EBS. Okay, and I'm trying to go you that much level. Normally in this CSA level of training, nobody discuss to you, or none of the cloud training they normally discuss to you. I'm trying to tell you the internals concepts of the EBS and how AWS has architected this particular technology on the cloud. And if you really understand the concept, how they architect behind the scene. So if you remember, guys, at the time of EBS topic I started, I have given you one task. The task is, can you connect your local pen drive to the AWS EC2 instance, or can you connect your EC2 instance to your local computer? Okay, so by default, this facility is not provided by AWS. So I don't think so. None of the cloud provide this facility that your block storage or EBS is there on the cloud. You go there, create 1 GB hard disk there, and that 1 GB hard disk you connect to your local laptop. So this kind of facility nobody give you. But yeah, if you know the internal concepts, how they have architected this kind of block storage technology there, it will give you the path and the approach, and you can use that approach to solve this kind of use case. Okay, so what is EBS, guys? You know, very quickly, if I try to explain you, in the cloud, especially in the AWS cloud, your EC2 instance is running, and if you have a requirement to add extra hard disk, or I can say extra pen drive, same thing, typically known as block device, for some use cases, then if you want to create a block device, okay, you can just go to EBS, because it's elastic block store or storage, I can say, and you go to there. Okay, let's go and create 1 GB 100 GB size of the block storage or block device, and you can attach to the EC2. Okay, but understand one thing, guys. Understand one thing, a very simple thing. EBS is only going to provide you one device. This devices look exactly like a pen drive, you can think in this way. Okay, and without having the laptop or without having the instance, there is no use of the pen drive. You can't exchange any data from the pen drive to the other pen drive, or can't read the data from the pen drive without having the EC2 instance, or without having your laptop or any operating system, right? So because why I'm explaining this way, because a lot of guys is keep on asking me very basic thing, right? But logically you think in this way. Okay, so without EC2 instance, there is no meaning of EBS. If you want to use the EBS service, or you want to use a block storage service in the cloud, you want instance in AWS, you want EC2 instance. There's one thing. Without EC2, there's no meaning. Okay, yeah. So but yeah, you know this thing because we have discussed this part multiple time. Okay, but one more thing, I told you guys, because this hard disk you have to connect to the EC2. So if you launch EC2 in one A data center, you have to launch the same hard disk in the one A data center. Why? Amazon has set this limitation, or I can say the constraint. By today's discussion, you come to know why they set this constraint. But if you want to connect this hard disk to one instance running in EC2 in 1B, how we can do? So again, my today's class will explain you this concept. Or what if, guys, if this hard disk, if I connect this hard disk not in the Mumbai region, entire different region. Okay, so how we can do this, plus how to increase or decrease the size of block device. So these are the concepts, guys, we are going to discuss today, and most probably we are also going to discuss about snapshots. What is snapshot, and was a powerful thing about the snapshot, if you also discuss today. So these are the topic, guys, of the EBS we are going to discuss today, and very much useful, because if you use EBS, these are those common things in day-to-day activity we always do. Okay, but before this, let me explain you how the EBS service internally has been architected. Okay, so you can think in this way. Normally, if you talk about the labs or the data center in the company, okay, they always try to separate the different unit. For example, they say if you need a computing unit, when I say computing, I mean to say CPU or RAM, especially these two devices. So if you are looking for the computing unit like RAM and CPU, so that you can run some program, and obviously you can run this program on the top of OS. So if you want to launch the OS, and on the top of the OS you want to run the program, there you require computing unit, and for this we have a different devices. Right? So these devices is only providing you only providing you the computing unit. Here we are not going to provide as such any kind of storage. Only RAM and the CPU. So technically in the company we have some kind of, you can say, one big boxes, and the boxes, they put all the devices on these boxes are known as a rack. In rack they put one device. This is only the computing unit. Obviously motherboard, other things also there. I'm mainly I wanted to, the main device would be RAM and CPU, but otherwise they something also there. Okay, but main thing, they say we have the rack only for the computing purpose. But if you are looking for the storage, so for some or certain reason, we always create a separate rack, separate rack for the storage. So these are the storage unit. Again we have the rack or some devices, and we have a lot of storage devices or hard disk we put here. So if you go and search the storage rack, storage rack in maybe in Amazon, something like this. So the photograph is not proper. I can say computer storage rack. uh, it's not proper photograph, but it's not obviously proper photographs. But yeah, if you search for some maybe, I don't know, some word, or storage appliances, appliances in cloud, something like this, appliances. So you can see this was small pictures here, these boxes here. So they connect together in one box. They put these are the racks. Yes, this is the good example, right? So this kind of rack I am talking about. So these are, we have the rack for the storage. We have the rack for computing, and lots of other like these kind of racks we have. So typically in most of the cases they have a two different or independent racks. One rack only they maintain for the storage, one they maintain for computing. Okay, so main two racks we have, for example. Okay, now what they do, okay, Amazon say or any cloud say, this is the, you can say this is the one kind of device, and this is the one kind of device. If anybody want to use this device, so because, guys, device is normally operated by some operating system. So we have this kind of computing unit from by some company, and this company has giving their our own program on operating system. But what Amazon has done, they created one their own program, and they say anybody who want to launch the operating system and on the top of the OS they want to run the program. So I am the AWS services, and we have created our own very simple program that anybody can use and finally use my computing rack. And they given the name of the program called EC2. EC2. So any user from outside world by having the aid of the account come to issue services. Okay, so issue service guys behind the scene contact to this rack and provide the RAM and CPU and some other things to those customer and launch the OS for this. So I can say EC2 is a one kind of just a small program created by AWS and program behind this in contact to some of the rack or some of the devices behind the scene by some company and access those devices for us or access those CPU and resources for us. So at this part I will explain in more detail when I start the topic of virtualization, because behind the scene they are using virtual or virtualization concepts and hypervisor and other things also. A very high level guys, you guys might understood. So EC2 is just one service. You can think EC2 is one service who uh, who behind the scene, right, accessing this device on the behalf of us. So I can say EC2 is the one who hide these devices and do the things for us. Okay, and this called abstraction. So EC2 is the one service that abstract the internal these boxes. So Amazon don't provide a direct access to these racks. We'll go to issued instance, and issued instance, or I can say EC2 services on our behalf go to these racks, get some RAM and CPU, and launch the OS and provide to us. So I can say issued instance, or I say EC2 services is a abstraction on the top of these devices. Okay, when I say abstraction, it means you don't have to go and understand their internal complexity or internal concepts. You just go and access the issue, and they will do everything for you. Similarly, they have a different device or a storage unit or storage appliance or storage rack by some company, let's say Dell EMC, right? So you don't have to know about Dell EMC operating system, right? AWS has created one service called EBS, right? And they say any user, any tenant come to AWS, and if they hit to EBS, using the EBS, we make this thing very simple. And EBS is the one kind of box. Box means one kind of program that abstract that abstract the internal complexity. When I say complexity means because when you guys buy these storage devices, these companies has their own commands, own APIs, own complex operating system, right? So we don't have to know those things, right? So AWS never say that they are using a Dell AMC storage rack. Okay, or maybe other company storage devices. They say maybe we are using hundreds of different company storage device, and every storage devices have their own operating system and own commands. So as my user, you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about. So as the AWS user or tenant, you come to my ABS service, and I give you very simple UI user interface of my command line of my GUI. Okay, and using this simple user interface, and with one single one single clean interface, you can we will provide you the storage to you. Now which OS we are using, which technology we are using, which product we are using, how complex they are, you don't have to worry about. Our cloud internal engineers of the AWS has worked everything for you. And the developer has created one simple program for you. Okay, so right now guys, we are into the public cloud, but by chance in the future if you get a chance to learn a private cloud, I highly recommend, even though if you get a chance ever to learn a private cloud, and one of the private cloud that I always recommend much, that's called OpenStack. where where you know what, right now you are using the AWS. Maybe at what level you reach in the AWS cloud or Azure cloud, finally you become the user. Because AWS or Azure or Google Cloud or any public cloud, I can say, they never give their software to you. They never give this program to you. If you ask the AWS, can you provide a EC2 source code to me or EC2 software to me, maybe a closed source, they never provide to you. Okay, so finally you have to finally use the cloud. But if you want to go in deep dive how EC2 has created and how EBS has created and how they work and how they internally link to internal devices, right? So if you have that kind of if you that kind of knowledge, right? So I highly recommend just learn some of the private cloud, maybe Eucalyptus, maybe OpenStack, and maybe Open Nebula, something like this. Okay, so there's extra thing, but I'm just trying to give you the high level idea. So even though if you go to public cloud also, this is the way they have created the things for us. But again, in this training, as such, we don't require to know how they work. But why I'm explaining this concept to you, because my final motto to explain you this thing. My final motto is just want to tell you, in the cloud we have a different device available by some company. We don't have to know about it, because they hide the thing from us, and they create one service called EC2 on the top of this. Yet we can get the CPU and the RAM. And I also try to tell you that they have a separate device or the rack or the storage devices or storage unit that is managed by a service called EBS. So finally, guys, my C is right. It means this is a different device altogether, and this is the difference device altogether. Okay, and as a user perspective, if you want to launch the OS, if you want to launch the OS, you require a RAM and CPU also, and you require storage also. Both the things, guys, you require RAM and CPU also, and the storage also. So finally, if you launch any operating system in the AWS cloud, your OS is running on the top of this rack or this device. Let's say this device, let this entire device has IP address, let's say one. I'm talking about this entire rack, entire this big box has let's say one IP address called one. Okay, and entire this storage device has one IP address called two. So technically behind the scene, whenever you launch this OS on the top of AWS, right, they go to this IP address, one big rack, and say, I want you launch one OS inside your this big box, because in this big box you might have thousands of GB RAM and thousands of CPU. So can you provide me one CPU or 1 GB RAM so I can launch my OS on top of this? So as a user or as a AWS, you go to this system to launch the OS. At the same time, you go to EBS, EBS to get the storage. For what? There's two purpose, because I told you guys, if you talk about storage, I meant to say a block storage, because object storage is a different thing. If you want to install the OS, if you want to install the OS, you have to create a partition. After create a partition, you have to format and then mount. So without creating a partition, it is impossible to install any operating system. And if you want to create a partition or create a format, the only one who gonna help you normally is the block storage. Okay, so you have to go to block storage. And now what is the purpose for going to block storage? Either for the root device or for the extra device like EBS volume, or I can say like a pen drive or external hard disk. Let's forget about EBS, external hard disk. So guys, we discussed already this part, right? Okay, now what I'm talking about here, why I'm explaining this thing, it means it means behind the scene, behind the scene, if you go to AWS cloud, okay, this computer or this computer rack, IP2, are going to provide me computing unit. And we have a separate unit or separate rack somewhere in the data center of AWS. Let's say right now I'm into the Mumbai region, and inside the Mumbai region we have three data center. Let's say one of the AZ is called 1A. So in 1A data center or AZ of the AWS, right? we have one complete rack for computing IP1 and one computer rack for storage. And because they're two separate rack, okay, and obviously guys, if they're two separate rack or two different racks or two different devices, so obviously we have to connect these guys, and for connecting we require some networking. So internally both these devices are connected with some kind of networking. So they have some network cables behind the scene, or maybe fiber optic cables behind the scene, and both the things are connected together. And why I would like to connect, because it's but obvious, it's but obvious if you don't connect these two devices using networking, so how your OS that are going to launch on the top of CPU or the RAM gonna access this storage for the root device. Why we need a root device? Because root device is the one where we normally install the operating system. Okay, so technically, you know what, guys, you can think in this way. Normally we are very much comfortable with the laptops and the desktop PCs. So I can say our local laptops and desktop are a combo boxes. Combo boxes. In same laptop we have the RAM and CPU. So if I open my task manager here, same laptop we have a, RAM and the CPU, and the same laptop we have the hard disk. That's called storage device. Or same laptop we get this screen, this kind of graphical screen and keyboard and mouse. Or I can say console. Okay, so this is, I can say this desktop and PCs and and desktops and laptops or mobile phones are combo boxes. All the three pieces plugged together, so that anybody can very easily use. But in the environment, in the corporate environment or in the data centers, due to a lot of reasons, maybe after upcoming classes you come to know, due to a lot of reasons, we have a separate unit for computing, independent company also, right, independent rack also, putting somewhere in the this big land of data center, a storage unit like hard disk, and somebody on the laptop working on the, right now I'm using this OS, right? So from my laptop, from my using my console, my screen, keyboard, mouse, I'm using both the guys together. Okay, so technically so finally my my final say over here is, RAM and CPU and storage is always the independent devices. Okay, and for this we have to put a network. We have to put the network. So finally, a very simple diagram if I create here. So EC2 is an independent service or device, or EBS is an independent service. If by chance in the AWS portal, in AWS portal, EBS come inside the dashboard of or screen of EC2. So this is EC2, and the same screen you can see EBS. So it look like a sub service. You can say it is sub service, but technically if you go at the core level, they are the two independent devices or independent program managing things, but they give you here so that very easily to manage, because normally we use EBS volume always with EC2. So to make it simple in the terms of management by the tenant or the user, like for us guys, so they have done this kind of management for just for so that they can very easily use this. Okay, but internally they are the two things, right? And because they are two things, then we require networking. Okay, understand one thing, in the networking world, okay, in the networking world, if this EC2 instance or EC2 service, I can say not instance, EC2 service providing the CPU and the RAM, mainly CPU and the RAM, and because they're providing you CPU and the RAM, okay, so that we can launch the OS. For launching the OS, guys, understand one thing, launch means one thing is boot. So if you want to boot the OS or start the OS, RAM and CPU is enough. But you want to install the OS, then require the hard disk. And hard disk is located in the different devices, in different rack, let's say two or the IP1. So let's say if you want to install the OS in the hard disk, and from the hard disk you want to boot, then this CPU and RAM sorry, has to go to via the networking to this EBS and say I have one hard disk there, that I take from you of like 10 GB, for example, because this hard disk is there in over the network. So I want this hard disk will connect to my system locally. So guys, you can think in this way. Till now, maybe you always connect the hard disk to your laptop with in your USB port. So if you have any external hard disk, you or pen drive, you buy, come to your laptop and connect in your local USB. And when you connect the local extra hard disk to a laptop, okay, it look like now this hard disk or this pen drive or this storage is a part of my laptop, but it's external. But any external hard disk you connect, normally you use USB drive or USB port, I can say. Okay, but in this case, in this case, guys, this hard disk, let's say of 10 GB, come from EBS rack. Okay, is there is a physical hard disk, but this hard disk is is not we can't take this hard disk from here and cut and plug into the USB port of this EC2 instances. We have to take this 10 GB hard disk over the network. Over the network. And guys, interesting thing is we have to take this hard disk over the network, right? But when this hard disk connect to this issue instance, they have to feel that somebody has locally connected this hard disk on the issue instance. They're coming from network, but it look like somebody has connected locally this hard disk to this instance, like somebody has put in the USB port. Okay, but one more vocabulary I just want to give here. In your laptop, you have the USB port where you put your pen drive. Okay, but after you put the pen drive, some kind of signals goes inside the OS and say some new device come up, and OS use some kind of mechanism to connect the hard disk and transfer the data. So this mechanism, okay, normally in the laptop we is known as SCSI. Sc- uh, uh, SCSI mechanism. Okay, SCSI is a mechanism they use. So that is the reason, guys, this port is also technically known as SCSI port. So you can use USB port, but right term is called the SCSI port. Okay, SCSI port is the right term. Okay, similarly here, now in this, because this storage is in the different computer or different rack altogether and different IP altogether. So, and this storage of 10 GB over the network, we have to connect to this instance. But to this OS, we have to tell them, maybe they are coming from the network, maybe they are coming from the internet. Okay, but for you it is a normal hard disk. For you, you feel they are coming in your SCSI port, on your USB port. So because see, think in this way, it's so interesting. Somebody is connecting the hard disk on my wireless card or my network card, but always feel that that hard disk is connected in my USB. You can think this way. So that's what, guys, we do here, or they do here. Okay, and that is the reason, guys, if you do anything in the networking, I told you multiple time, anything you do on the top of networking, we had to use a certain kind of mechanism or a certain kind of protocol. Certain kind of protocol. Okay, and the protocol they use to connect the block storage hard disk to the EC2 instance over the network is called iSCSI. iSCSI. So I is for internet, SCSI. SCSI is the same thing that I'm talking about here. So iSCSI, yeah, iSCSI, it is a pronunciation of this this term. iSCSI is a concept they use over here. Okay, so finally, my even though, guys, I'm talking a lot of internals as such in the AWS cloud of AWS classes we don't require, but it's good to know. So technically, it means if you launch any so let me launch very quickly. If you launch any EC2 instance here, okay. So internally, right now, if you see in the top, I am using EC2 services. So technically, I have connected to one of the EC2 services or EC2 program. Other program is behind the scene connect one of the rack of computing unit where we pull some RAM and CPU. Between this, there is one more layer called virtual layer. That's called virtualization. We will discuss in my upcoming classes. Okay, but they connect there. And on the top of the RAM and CPU are asking to launch this OS, or I can say the boot this OS. But before the boot, guys, we have to install it. Okay, we have to install. For example, I'm saying from this big rack, I want, can you provide me one CPU and can you provide me 1 GB RAM? But I also set this here, okay, because this OS I would like to install first, then I would like to boot. And for this, I want my instance storage to be EBS only. So I want behind the scene EC2 you contact to or connect to EBS services or EBS program and ask, can you provide me some storage to me? So if you go to next screen, next screen, can you provide me 8 GB storage to me? And what is my purpose to have this EBS volume? For it is for the root. Root means I would like to install my OS on the top of this. But between the guys, by chance they look in the same screen because AWS created this screen to make the things very simple. So we as a normal user won't have to won't have to stuck in the conceptual and technological part, but internally this screen, they are connecting to two major services or two different racks or maybe different companies. Okay, IP1 or IP2. Okay, so technically we install the OS here. But after install the OS, when the OS boot, this hard disk first connect to this EC2 service or this rack over the protocol called ISCSI. Okay, then only guys, they boot. Okay, and very simply guys, maybe you guys, I don't know, have you any knowledge of Red Hat Linux or not, or I don't know, have you any knowledge on on installation of Red Hat or not. But very quickly I just want to show you one thing out of the course. I'm going to install one Red Hat um, Reddit OS here just to show you one interesting demonstration here. Very interesting demonstration here. So what I'm going to do here, let me show you in a minute. Just very quickly, I'm going to show you one interesting demo here. So guys, this is a virtual box, and I'm going to install one Red Hat version 8, which is one Linux operating system, and I'm going to install this OS on the top of my laptop. Okay, and what exactly I'm going to show you, one minute. Even though guys, I have shared my some of my basic Linux classes also to you, those guys, those who by chance new in Linux. Okay, but this installation is not at all at all um, important for the AWS, but I just want to show you right now. I'm installing this OS. Like I can't show you these things in while going inside the AWS cloud because they never give you. Because if you see in the top iSCSI in the top lines, this term called Open iSCSI or iSCSI device mapper, right? So I can't show you these things in the AWS cloud because AWS cloud never give the access to show you what they're doing behind the scene while installing the OS or by connecting the hard disk. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you high level idea what exactly they're doing behind the scene. So technically, what I'm doing going here, I'll ask my this OS to install Red Hat Linux. I provide some RAM and CPU. Okay, so at the time of installation, guys, normally in the Red Hat 8, they ask you one more thing. So maybe they might ask you, I don't know, but let me check because until Red Hat 7 they have that option, right? Let me check very quickly if I can show you what exactly I'm going to show you here. Can you give me 1 minute, please? Okay. So guys, over here, if you see the this option called installation destination, means they're talking about you're going to install one OS. Like in AWS, we have provided the AMI for installing the OS. By chance, this is my local computer, so I provided one ISO file, but logic-wise they are same. So we have provided one installation source. This is my DVD Okay, over here, I can say AMI. Okay, but where are you going to install this OS? So this is called destination. And obviously, guys, we have to install the OS obviously on the top of the block device. But this block device is in your local system, or this block device is coming from some independent storage unit somewhere on the internet, or somewhere on the network, or somewhere on the LAN. So I click here. Here they ask you that you are going to install this OS on the top of your local kind of hard disk in your own in your own personal rack. Okay, or you want to install this OS on the hard disk, but this hard disk is not connected to your laptop. This hard disk is not a part of a laptop. This hard disk coming from the cloud, coming from the different rack, coming from the different laptop. Okay, so where this hard disk is, that's called network devices. Network devices. So there's option, guys, here, network devices. And if you click here, add device, okay, here they give the name. And if you notice here in the last, they say add iSCSI target. iSCSI target. Okay, so that's what I talk about, guys. So behind the scene, whenever you launch this OS, okay, either whenever you launch this OS, you require a RAM and CPU. But this from where you're getting the RAM and CPU, same rack, if they give you storage to you, same rack if they give storage to you. Okay, so we don't have to go to network. We don't have to go to network. Okay, okay, it's very important concept, because this concept is very much useful in some kind of planning. So what I'm talking about, you go to one company and buy one big device called rack. And some company give lots of CPU, a lot of RAM, and sometime in the same box they give you some storage also, or block storage. Okay, and now, so this is the one rack we buy from one company. And we have one more rack. It is only for block storage. So whenever you launch the OS or boot the OS, all right, you require RAM and CPU. But for installing the OS, now you have two choice. You want to use your local storage, coming from the same device, or same rack, or same appliance, whatever you say here. You're going to use this, or you want this RAM and CPU get the storage from this rack over the network. Okay, in this case, if your RAM and CPU, and where you're going to install the OS, are taking the storage from the networking, then then we have options to use a protocol called iSCSI. And this rack is known as iSCSI server, and also known as iSCSI target. iSCSI target. Okay, and iSCSI is not the only one. We have one more protocol available that is faster in the terms, or some other options they also give you. This is called fiber channel. It's called FC. So either you can use fiber channel or iSCSI. So that's what, guys, you're talking here. Okay, so you want to add fiber channel, or you want to add iSCSI. What do you want to do? So working wise, finally they are same, but there's different method or mechanism or protocol available for some other use cases also. Okay, that's the one thing. One more small term I just want to give you. If you have a storage unit, I can say block storage unit, so that maybe this block storage has a thousands and thousands of GBs available. And from this big box, we'll create and cut one small hard disk. One small hard disk, let's say of 8 GB, and this hard disk will provide to this OS. So like this, we can create multiple hard disks, cut multiple hard disks here, and provide to my different OS. That's what, guys, exactly EBS is doing for us. So EBS contact to this storage unit and cut different hard disks and providing to different OS. Okay, and guys, by chance, this kind of storage unit is known as block devices. But there's one more term for this, guys. We use SAN, SAN, storage area network. So we have some area. Area means rack over the network, and they are the storage, guys. So guys, maybe you guys we might heard about SAN, a term very common usually to, used term. Okay, SAN is storage attached. So I'm so sorry, guys, not area, storage attached network. Okay, so in over the network, you have storage, and if you want to attach to the OS, you can store it. Okay, so technically, if you go to this Reddit 8 installation, they give you both the facility. They give you, do you want to get the device over the network using iSCSI or fiber channel? Okay, we give both the facility. So you install the OS, but your finally your install OS installation will be there in some other device and some other computer. So guys, it's look very interesting. My OS will boot here in this screen. They get RAM and CPU from my laptop, but hard disk they are coming from different laptop and different server. So this is very interesting setup you can do here. But here they give you one more option called local. So my RAM and CPU coming from the same laptop, plus my hard disk is also coming from the same laptop. So I can say this is the local hard disk. Okay, but by chance, guys, this facility is not as such. There's a way, but this facility not as such available in the AWS. So whenever, guys, you need a block storage in the AWS for installing the OS, or in the future adding extra hard disk in the OS, like a pen drive external hard disk. In both the cases, both the cases, they always go via the network, use iSCSI or this protocol, all right, and they go to EBS services or the storage device to get the hard disk. This way, that's the way they always do. Okay, but understand one thing, very important thing is, okay, if you are if you are storing the data for this OS. So guys, OS is booting up on the top of the CPU and RAM in IP1. But whatever you do on the top of the OS, you store the data, you read the data. Every time, all the activity will go via the network, and you read the data from this hard disk. You write the data on this hard disk. So obviously, guys, it will come with some kind of delay. Obviously, there's some kind of delay will come up, right? So right now, if you talk about my laptop, okay, you can see all the files here. If I open one of the file here, for example, this is one of image of file open here. Okay, so so this image is come from a local hard disk. My RAM and CPU is there. Local hard disk also there, located locally. So I don't have to go to any network. It will be very easily and fast accessible. So there will be no SS delay come up. Okay, if you have a hard disk locally connected, but same OS, exact same OS I can install in my other laptop also. So RAM and CPU come from this laptop, okay, and hard disk come from different laptop, maybe on the cloud, maybe in the different room, or maybe in my LAN. Okay, but obviously there's some delay will come up. So whatever you do, open, click, save, control as, read, every activity you do as save operation or read operation, every time they have to go to network and read from there. Obviously extra delay will come up of the network because network is comparative slow. Comparative slow come up. Okay, so that is one challenge you might face, and that is one of the reason why AWS has create one limit, or I can say one constraint. And they say, okay, because according to our design, according to our design, IP1 is a rack for the computing, IP2 is a rack of storage, and whenever we launch any OS, we have to read and write. We have to go to extra device or the network to, so that it won't be give you so much so much speed, or in the terms of performance. Technically, this is known as throughput. Throughput. Okay, so it won't give you proper speed and performance in the terms of read and write, because we are going through the network, so there will be no proper throughput come up of the read and write of my data. Okay, so that is the reason we have given a constraint that if you launch the OS or getting the RAM and CPU from EC2 from 1A data center, and if you're trying to attach any hard disk from 1B, I won't allow. Technically, there is no drawback. If you talk about technically, we can correct. So, as a technical standpoint of view, if you have the hard disk on 1B or maybe in US also, and you want your OS is running in the Mumbai, technically we can connect. But if Amazon has give these options to the customer, and obviously if they give the customer, if they launch the hard disk 1B and OS is launching in 1A and the connect, so all the time when you do control S, save, read, any operation you do, guys, every second, if you, even though if you open your task manager, every second your some operation is keep on happening on the disk. So you see here, and the graph is keep on updating. So 1%, even though I'm not doing anything much here, I'm not opening any file or doing some control S and read and write the data, but some operation is still going on your disk because a lot of program is running in my OS, and every program is either reading or writing some data on the hard disk. But if a hard disk is not local, is if it's there on the network, it will come extra with extra latency or the delay. Okay, but but if Amazon has given this facility to us, a facility to us, and they say now you can launch one hard disk in 1B. So it's mean, guys, think in this way. Even though you don't doing anything on the top of the OS, but your data, your data or some program in the OS is keep on sending the data in 1A, 1B, 1A, 1B. Your entire data of read and write on the disk is keep on happening. So there will be, and if you think, guys, think in this way as an Amazon perspective also, there's thousands and thousands of OS running in 1A. Or maybe the hard disk will maybe 1B or 1C. So there will be a lot of network congestion they have to manage. Plus they have to manage, plus second thing, extra delay also come up because your network packet has to travel long distance. So because normally between two data center we have 100-mile distance. Okay, and if they travel long distance for everything, for example, if you write open one file and write something here, right now what I'm typing here is showing my RAM, but as soon as I do control S, it's shown in the hard disk. So technically, if my hard is not there, my data will go to the different data center and save there. So it takes a lot of time. So a lot of the guys things that we have to manage, right? So this is one of the main reason why Amazon has set the constraint that we won't allow any OS of 1A can have a capability to connect 1P. So this is one constraint they have given. When I use the constraint means they manually write in the code, we don't allow. But a technical standpoint of view, if you can create your own cloud, and guys, this is one of the projects we normally work on in the Linux world. So we also have a capability to create our own personal cloud. Personal cloud. So I used to deliver this training a lot. Maybe in the future I might take launch this training again, where we can create our own personal cloud like AWS or like OpenStack. Okay, but if you create your own cloud or if you implement your own technology, so as a technical point of view, your hard disk would be anywhere in the world, or your OS would be anywhere in the world. So it means you put your pen drive in a local laptop right now, and OS is running on the cloud, and you can connect. Or maybe hard disk is there on the cloud, or maybe internet, or your OS is running here, you can connect. And guys, this is the exact same homework I have given to you. So I'm not showing you this demonstration because iSCSI is not at all the part of AWS training, but I have given you very much proper approach and the path. So if you know, try to learn some more about the iSCSI and how it is implemented, so tasks that I have given to you can be solved. Okay, this is one thing. But having this much knowledge is very important, especially in the terms of designing some architecture on the cloud. Because we know the internally they work in this way. Okay, but and this one thing I just want to tell you one more time, one more thing here, right? uh, AWS as such won't give you a facility to connect to the local storage. Okay, but in some of the instance type they have this facility. Okay, what I mean by this, okay, if I go to AWS, okay, if I go back, you know what is instance type. So this is the instance type. Instance type. And they say if you use T2 nano, T2 small, I'll give you one CPU, 2 GB RAM. But instance storage come from EBS. Means you're going to install this OS, you have to go to EBS storage or the network with iSCSI or fiber channel, whatever they use behind the scene, and we'll get the storage from there or the network. Okay, even though if you go next, if you go next, okay, so if you launch the OS or if you add extra hard disk, by chance guys, they give the name EBS, but don't be confused. This and this both are EBS. But here they try to tell you this is a root device where you're going to install the OS, or it is an extra hard disk like a pen drive, uh, come from EBS. But behind the scene, both are coming from the SAN storage, or I can say storage that is located on the network, like EBS. Okay, in both the cases, if you install the OS, and the extra hard disk come from by the protocol called iSCSI or fiber channel, whatever they use behind the scene. Mostly they use fiber channel, but in some of the cases they might use iSCSI also. That is not so much important for us right now. Okay, but in some of the instance type, this T2 small, T2 micro is what instance type. In some of the instance type, they give you one more facility of the storage. Of the storage, where they say, okay, we have some company rack, because this rack come from some XYZ companies. They have this kind of big this kind of big appliances, or this kind of big racks. This called computing racks. Okay, so they say we have some company racks where we have a facility. Let me write here, where we have a facility. So in the rack of this XYZ company, we have the RAM also, we have the CPU also, and local block storage or storage also. Okay, so if you have a certain requirement that you want to pick the RAM from here and CPU from here to boot the OS, and same box or same rack you want to use to install the OS also. And after installing the OS, whatever data you write or read, this is called IO, input and output, read and write. Okay, input means write, output means read. Read and write you can do from the local hard disk. So you don't have to go to network. Okay, you don't have to go to network. So guys, in this case, you know what you will achieve, you get a fantastically powerful speed, right? Because you don't have to go to network every time, and you're local, right? It's like it look like it's like a local laptop. Everything you're doing locally. Okay, in here, if you talk about the input output performance of your data read and write, would be super fast. Would be super fast. Okay, so Amazon has this facility also. Okay, they provide you those things. Okay, and for this they give this name called, they say this is the same rack where we are going to launch our instance. So they say this called instance backed storage. Okay, so we have a in a rack, same rack will provide you storage. This called instance backed storage. Okay, but this instance backed storage is not for any of the racks. Some limited company racks they provide you. Okay, and accordingly, guys, Amazon has plan for their instance type. So they say if you use T2 Mac small, for as a user, it look like we are getting to 1 GB RAM and two so one CPU and 2 GB RAM. But internally they go to one of the rack where they have this this kind of boxes available. You can think in this way. Everything is virtual, but you can think in this way. Okay, there we don't have facility, have any local storage. You have to go to network. Sometimes it's good, right? It's good actually to separate the storage for some reason, right? But if you have certain requirement and you say in this OS, in this laptop or in this instance, you have to launch some application and you want that application will have a powerful read and write read and write facility. Okay, so I want my read operation and my write operation would be very faster. And one of the great example for this, where I want my read and write operation would be very faster, especially in the big data world, or I can say in the terms in the world of analysis or analytics maybe, where I have a lot of data or huge data, and I would have to read and write my data very quicker, so we can analyze something and come out with some conclusion and come out with some kind of report. Okay, and again it use case to use case also, but especially when you have some kind of analysis requirement where a lot of data we have, and we want my analysis to be super fast. And when I say big data, it look like terabyte, but when I say big data means huge data. And my requirement is to do operation of read and write operation to be very fast. Okay, so there we might require the local storage, but not all the instance type they have. Okay, but if you go down, they show you the storage. But by the before I show you, I just want to give one more vocabulary here. By chance, this local storage, what they provide you in the same rack of computing rack, are also known as ephemeral storage. Ephemeral storage. Okay, so if you go down, if you go down in some of the instance type, you will see the ephemeral storage. Oh, sorry. So for this, one minute. EBS optimizer. This one, EBS optimizer. For example, if I go to T3 Nano, no, why it is 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. The mention over here, uh, instance storage is EBS. I think they mention over here. Yeah, here it is. Ephemeral. Okay, ephemeral storage. So I go back and it's very clearly mentioned here. If you are instance store means we are going to install the operating system is the EBS. It means it always come from the network. Means the storage come from SAN storage over the network. But if you see some numbers here, this one 50. So do you want 50 GB SSD hard disk? So this is called 50 GB local storage or FRML storage, or I can say instanced back storage, because same system where we are running the storage, same system we have this storage available. Okay, so if you want this, just click and click next, and if you notice here, they give you some ephemeral storage to you. Okay, but yeah, it's come with the cost. It won't guys come into your free tier, but if you want, I'll show you some of the demo in my upcoming class about this one, ephemeral. Okay, but the performance of this guy, if you get a 50 GB storage from root or maybe from EBS, if you get a 50 GB storage from EBS, and if you get 50 GB storage from this guy, yeah, no, it's like a very much powerful. It's very much powerful in terms of read and write. Very powerful in terms of IO speed. They are, they are. But don't worry, guys. We will talk more about throughput and IOPS. We'll discuss there. Even though if you see here, it's not applicable. Okay, IOPS not here because they are not coming from the network, but we'll discuss guys about this concept, don't worry. My plan is to discuss something else today. Okay, so to technically finally, and why they are known as ephemeral. Okay, ephemeral, because they are temporary in nature. And why we say it is temporary in nature, I will discuss guys when I go for the topic called virtualization there. So technically, if you talk about the block storage, where we have a capability to create the partition or to install or to format or to install the operating system. Now there's three different kind of block storage. One is root block storage, okay, where we install the OS. One where we have persistent storage, right, where we keep our data permanent, like a external hard disk like pen drive. Okay, and now we have one more, is called ephemeral storage. Okay, but in both these cases, they're the two different name. Root or permanent, normally we use a term persistent, are actually come from EBS, means come from network. Or when I say ephemeral, again this is storage, same working wise everything is same. Okay, but they are locally attached, or I say instanced backed storage. Okay, so in terms of performance, they are super fast. These guys can't beat because there's one limitation, they are in the network. Network give you extra delay or the latency. Okay, the extra benefit. But this ephemeral has one kind of a limitation. Limitation is ephemeral. Ephemeral normal meaning is called temporary. Means whatever data you store here is temporary. Temporary means, okay, if you reboot the OS, after reboot the OS, all the data that you stored in the ephemeral, they might remove, I can say. And if I say I might remove, they will remove, or they might remove. Most of the time they remove. Okay, why I say this, I'm not going to discuss right now today. For this, I have to first explain you a concept called virtualization. So in this topic, I will come back to this topic again, and that time I explain you why it is temporary in nature. The bad thing about this guy is temporary in nature. The good thing about this guy is super fast in terms of read and write. Okay, that's the main thing. But about the speed, you should know the concept of throughput. You should know the concept of IOPS. When I discuss this topic of IOPS or throughput, I'll again come back this topic and compare you guys with some kind of demo. The root versus I say slow, ephemeral is fast. So some demo I will explain those things. Okay. So guys, these are the information I provide you. These are the internals of how the thing work. I think by understanding this concept, guys, maybe lots of concept guys you can link why Amazon is doing something in the cloud and why they have certain kind of constraint over here. Okay, so these are very much internal things I explain. None of the AWS training guys, even though if you go to some of the advanced training of AWS, they also nobody discuss you what exactly happening behind the scene. And one of the best way to understand this part is from this local installation. So here my local storage give me local hard disk, or they give the hard disk from the network like iSCSI. So you can, if anybody know Reddit, they can also try to install a Reddit Linux locally over the cloud or the network. Okay, so let me close this. I don't want this. Okay, so let's guys go to the demos. Okay, so now my first demo is my first demo. Yeah, before the demo, I have to explain one more concept. Okay, then only we can achieve the demo, right? The concept is if you go, I don't want to install this OS also. We are running with three instances. One minute. Okay, so guys, if you go to EBS, there's a concept called volumes, and there's one more concept, guys. Here we have called snapshots. Okay, so first let me explain the concept of snapshot. Okay. And after, guys, you know the concept of snapshot, lots of thing that is has been constrained by AWS you can solve. For example, one of the requirement we have is, if I have launched one hard disk in 1A and my instance is running 1B, so how can we connect this hard disk or EBS volume in 1A to the to the OS running in the EC2? How we can launch this and how we can connect this? Right now we can't connect, guys. We discussed already, and I show you already in my last demo. But today I'm going to show you, right? If you have this kind of a use case or requirement come up, how we can do it. Okay. And guys, these are scenario normally in the future if you're planning to go for AWS CSA global examination, right? So these are scenario normally they ask in the exam, and this is a very typical question they always ask in the examination. They say we have one EBS volume in EBS in 1A, EC2 instance in 1B, and we have a requirement to connect this storage or connect this data to this guy so they can use. Okay, so they give you multiple choices A, B, C, D, and in the choices they give you this is the right step, or this is the right step, and this is the right step, right? And if you don't know practically, and if you don't know conceptually, you won't able to solve these questions, right? Okay, so today's class, guys, give this kind of answer to you. But for implement these things, we have to know one more concept here, and the concept is called SS. It's called snapshot. Okay. What is snapshot? To explain this concept, what I am going to do right now, let me launch some of my instances here as a web server. Let me launch so I can show you this thing as a proper demo. Where it is? Sorry. Mhm. 1 minute. Start. Okay. So, so what, guys? Snapshot, right? Okay, so it's very interesting concept actually if you think in this way. Let's say what exactly the meaning of snapshot. Let's say you have one pen drive of 8 GB, or one external hard disk of 8 GB, or in our case is EBS volume of 8 GB. Okay, now what happened, guys? Let's say today is 1st of November. Okay. And today, in this pen drive of 8 GB, this is the complete 8 GB pen drive. Okay, you store some data. You create some file, you store some images, you store some video. Around 1 GB of data you have filled today. So, guys, this is the status of today. Today is the 1st November. Again, next day, 2nd of November, in same pen drive, in same pen drive, 1 GB data we already had. 1 GB data we already have. Let's say we add one more GB data here, or let's say two more GB data we have added here. So 1 GB we had already, and two more GB data of images or videos, or maybe the file that I already had. We opened the file and we updated some data on the file on 2nd November. Okay, and let me go for one more scenario date here, 3rd of November. Okay, and again in 3rd of November, what we did, now we have 3 GB data, 1 GB from the 1st November, 2 GB from the 2nd November, and what I did today, I add some more data here. Some more data here. Okay, and this data I added, let's say maybe 1 GB data I added, but I also removed some data from from the from here. Thus I added on the first. For example, here I added one file called f1.txt. So 1st number we have this file. 2nd number also we have this file exist. And 3rd number, this file was exist, but somebody or I removed this file because we want I don't want to have this file. Okay, so on third number we remove the file. Okay, so technically the current status of the third number is we have 1 GB data, we have 2 GB data from second number, we have 1 more GB data from the third number plus whatever file we have from the first number, we removed it. Okay, but after you remove the file, let's me give one more last day here called fourth. So we are my team guys are working on the fourth number, and what they realize, there's very much important file, very much important file we had actually, but by chance or accidentally guys we remove this file. So maybe on the third we think this file is not important for us, but maybe in fourth by doing some operation we come to know we have now this file requirement. But challenge these guys because on the third number we remove this file. Or maybe by accident this file is removed. So after some time my team realized that we need this file back. Okay, so how can we solve this? Like how we can solve this, how can we get this file back? One of the method may be recovery, but recovery is a different thing. Recovery is not always foolproof if you overwrite the physical block of the hard disk. Okay, so this just forget about the recovery. So guys, to have this file back, okay, there's two possibility or two approach available. One approach that is available is called backup. Backup. Okay, so in the backup what can we do? Okay, because we know this very important files for you, or I can say a sensitive file for you. Okay, so what can we do? What can we do after we create this 1 GB file, 1 GB data on the first number, or maybe in the at night 11:30 or 12 o'clock? This called a nightly operation. We have some other team member and their duty is to create a backups. So they have some extra centralized storage somewhere, and whatever data we have on the first number, so first number we have 1 GB data, they copy or backed up entire 1 GB data. Okay, again second number come up, now a second number, now we have total 3 GB data total we have. Okay, okay. When I said 2 GB or 3 word added, it means not a new file added. Maybe some of the file that I already had, I opened the file and edit the file. So in totality, we have 3 GB data. So in second number, okay, we have to entire create a backup of 3 GB data. Now in the third number, the 1 plus 1 plus 4 GB data, or maybe this file maybe of half GB I removed. So in the third number, around 3.5, 3.5 GB data we have to backup. But if you notice here, the good thing about the backup is, okay, if I reach to the fourth day or the fourth number, and when we need this file, but this file is already removed on the last day on the third number, I say, okay, but we know this file was exist on this first or second day, and good thing is we have the backup. So we go to first or second number backup, and from there we can find this file, and after we find this file we restore the file or we get the backup copy from here. There. So good thing about backup is the good thing about the backup is we can get our data back if by chance it remove accidentally or maybe manually also. Okay, there's a good thing about backup, but bad thing about the backup is, guys, they consume unlimited storage in our from my storage, right? Unwanted storage, I can say. Okay, if you guys notice here, let's say there's some data, right, is keep on backing. For example, first day I copy 1 GB data, and same 1 GB data again copy second day, same 1 GB data, this data we already had, this data we already had, we keep on we keep on copying same data again and again and again. So finally, after 30 days, okay, you'll see most of data we keep on copying again and again. It is something like this. Today you're doing something on laptop. I say maybe you touch change some 1 KB data today, but maybe some one line I change here, one line I change here, one line I change here, 10 line I change here. So hundreds of file I touch today. And if you want to create a backup, technically you have to create a backup of entire desktop or entire laptop. Or at my laptop's hard disk size is half terabyte. So a complete half terabyte hard disk I have to backup. Tomorrow I might change 1 KB file or 1 MB data in totality. But because I have changed in hundreds and thousands of files here, it's very harder to monitor which file updated. Okay, so I have to again copy the entire half terabyte data today. So finally, every day you're changing only 1 MB part. Okay, and the guy for this we normally use a term, maybe maybe let's say in first day you add one more file called f2.txt. So second day you add only one line of f2. The next day you add one more line of f2. The next day you line one more line in the f2. So totally in on an average every day you're changing 1 or 2 or 10 MB data every day basis. I can say this term called delta. So maybe initially you have 1 G file on first day, but next day you add only one small line. Next day you add one small line. Next day you add one more small line in the same file. So maybe around 1 KB, 2 KB's data you change every day basis. Or I can use one more term called increment. Increment. Okay. Here, guys, this adding this point on the one in one file that this normal activity do is also known as delta part. Or I can say delta. Okay, so technically what I'm talking about, guys, here is if you talk about overall around 1 KB, 10 MB or 100 MB data you change every day. But if your hard disk total data is 1 TB, in the backup operation you have to normally have a backup of all the files. Or we can do some kind of management also, but we have to backup all the files. So the bad thing about the backup, guys, what I'm talking about, the bad thing about the backup is, okay, it unwanted wastage of the resource. The resource is or the storage is unwanted wasted, or obviously if you unwanted to waste the storage, it come with the money and with the cost. The good thing of backup is if something lose you can go back and get the data, is good thing. The bad thing about the backup is it come with unwanted cost, because every data you keep on copying again and again every day basis, same data you can keep on copying. Okay, and by chance anybody who know anything about replication? So replication, guys, is not at all equals to backup. This is a different concept altogether. Right now I'm just talking about just a backup. Replication is a different concept altogether. If you want, right now we don't require to discuss today, but if you want to discuss, we will discuss in the future. Okay, but here I am talking about the backup. Yeah, anybody who want to do replication, we can use RAD as a device. Or by chance anybody who know Hadoop here, Hadoop is by default doing the replication for you. They don't do backup, but by default they do a replication for you. But now this is not the topic for today. Okay, so right now I'm talking more about the backup here. Okay, but now the good thing about backup is we can get the older data. That's the good thing. Bad thing is every day same data is keep on copying. So how can you solve this problem? Okay, so we can keep on backing up the data, but I don't want my data is keep on copying same data, keep on copying every day basis. So I want an intelligent tracker on my data. What I mean by this, right? I want something like this. Let's say we have some external storage on the first day. Let's say this is the first time I started using this hard disk, and the first day when I create 1 GB data, obviously, guys, this data is not there in my some backup storage. So on the first day I would have to copy entire data. Entire data in my central storage. Okay, so this entire 1 GB data with f2.txt file, f1.txt file, right? This file, I want both the files or all the files of 1 GB to be copied here, so that this if we have this file data copy in this kind of backup storage or centralized storage, everything if we lose we can revert it back or we can restore back. Okay, now what happened, guys, in next day maybe what are 1 GB data you have, maybe in file 1 or maybe in f2.txt, maybe extra one line you added. This file size, let's say 200 MB. 200 MB data we have already. Okay, but in this 200 MB, okay, maybe again second November I open the file and I add two line and I remove one line. Okay, I remove one line. So technically, as this hardest perspective, what can we see? We can see all the file, all the data of the file f2.txt with this two line added or this one line removed in this hard disk. Okay, but you know what? After second November complete, I want, I want, right, in my backup, my file f2.txt was there with all the lines. Okay, or maybe there might possibility what I remove, you remove today, maybe tomorrow, guys, you might get this, you might want this line back. You might want, that's the reason we do a backup. So what I will do in my hard disk, okay, I won't touch this data. I lock down this data. I say I'm not going to touch this data again. It's locked down. Nobody can change this. Okay, this concept is called mutable. I make this data read only. It's called mutable. And what I do, I add one special tracker here. What my tracker will do when I again create this backup of these guys again of second number, they will first check and locate, does this file located already from the first day? We say yes, this file is already located or from the first day. What is size of this file? Five, let's say 200 MB. Does all the data of 200 MB is located there? Yes. But what is the difference? They said the difference is this one: two line added and one line removed. So what we'll do, guys, instant we we create again 500 or 200 MB backup again, because this file maybe contain thousands of lines. All the 1,000 lines already located in my storage. So why we have to again create a backup of this to save the money? So what we'll do, the only two lines that we added and removed, we create a backup of this. It's called delta part. So any part that change or delta part that change, the part that is changed is called delta. We update there. So we go to this hard disk and say, let me create one more backup. And this time, what we are going to do, we are going to add two extra lines. And we have to create one note here, that there's some line that I already had. Let's say line number line number 25th. We had on the first day, but second day somebody removed. So we create one note here. The line number line number 25th has been removed. So we create one kind of sticky note kind of thing here, that this line number 25 on the second day or second number is removed, and second number only two line added. So technically, guys, if you notice here, okay, are you doing a complete backup of second number data? Yes. So at the night, at the nightly operation of second number, right? Anybody who go to this hard disk and say, does we have an entire backup of day one and day two? Yes. Okay. If anybody, by let's say by chance, this entire hard disk removed of second number, and anybody want to get this data back of second number, and the hard disk we want to get back, can we get it? Obviously yes, because we have a backup of day one also. This is my day one, and we have a backup of day two also. So from both the backup, we can create one more new hard disk, because let's say my hard disk is removed of second number. Okay, we can get the hard disk again. Okay, but at the time of doing a backup, right, right, what the markers say, what my note say, what my sticky note say, they say when you are taking out the backup of the day one, you can find one line 25th, but it is removed actually. Is still there in the day one, but is removed already. Somebody on the second day removed. So while doing the backup, do the backup of 2 days, two lines plus all the 1,000 lines, but don't create line number 25. So finally, what you achieve? You achieve the same hard disk of the second day. But in this example, by chance on the on the third day, okay, somebody realized that you removed line number 25. You remove line number 25. Okay, on second day. But this line is very important. Maybe this line contains some kind of credential or some kind of account details. Okay, can you get this line number 25 back? Answer yes. Because second day is removed, but the backup of first day, okay, we had this file. So again, we go to first day backup, and this is the part of first day backup, entire 1 GB. And from this entire 1 GB data, right, we again get a free store and get the entire data. Because this with this 1 GB content, what the backup of 1 day, and first they contain all 1,000 lines, and whatever files line number I remove 25th is also located there. Located there. Okay. So technically, if you notice, guys, here, our intention is to do backup. I want this. Okay, and I would like to do a backup per day basis, per hour basis, per hourly basis, per month basis. Depend, guys, how much sensitive data you have, or plus how frequently you want to do the backup. Okay, but backup we know want, that's the fact. But every time a backup, I don't want to create the backup of whole data again and again. Because you might have 100 terabyte data, but only in 100 terabyte, only 10 MB or 100 MB part is keep on changing. I may be adding, maybe removing. I want to add only the delta part of this, but I have to add in this way that my backup look everyday backup, but it will save the money, it save the storage. There we have to use this kind of intelligent rules, or there we have to use this kinds of concept called delta. Okay, so finally, if I try to create very clean, little bit clean diagram of this, it look like this. So first day, first number, we have a backup of 1 GB. And second number, rather than we again create a 1 GB backup, what a line change or line remove, all the line added, I add here, all the line remove. Obviously, I can't remove here, but I can add a tag here and say line number, let's say 25 is removed. So this is the backup of first number. This is the backup of second number, or maybe in the third number, we add again maybe 10 more lines, and we remove, let's say, maybe 20 different lines. Maybe some from day 2, somebody from day 1. Okay, so this is the backup of third number. But if you see here, finally we have backup per day basis, because my requirement is called a schedule, or frequency is per day basis, or maybe per hour basis. So every day basis I am doing a backup. It's called schedule. Okay, maybe manually we can automate also, how we will see. Okay, but important point here is, in this example, if anybody want to get the data of day 2, day 1, day 3, they want to get the data again. Maybe day 3 we remove something, but I want to get my data of day 1, or maybe day 2. Can we get it? Yes, why not? Or getting data back again is called restore. Can we restore the data back again from the backup? This is the backup. So any data, can you get it? You just try to, guys, think. You will get it. But here, does we have to give, let's say, every day we have to backup, and 10 years we keep on doing. If you give backup entire data, it will come with a lot of cost, right? But in this example, per day I'm only adding only this part, only this part. And if you talk about the actual data, maybe 1 terabyte. But every day, maybe 1 MB part you're changing, 2 MB part you're changing or removing. So very small part we keep on adding as a as a node or sticky node. Okay, over here. Okay, so that part that you added here is called delta part. You keep on adding. So finally you save the cost, plus all the data also has been backup. Okay, backup. And guys, this concept is known as, actually, you can think in this way. Right now, guys, if you are sitting at maybe in your home, you're sitting at your window, and if you open the window and just go look out, right, and you'll see the entire your area there. And if you try to measure the complete area outside the window, the total size of that area might be 10 kilometer or 20 kilometer or maybe 100 mile maybe. And if I ask the area that you see, that you visualize from the window, let's say 10 kilometer, and if I ask if same area that you're seeing right now, if you want to want to again store somewhere else, how much space you need? Again, obviously 10-kilometer area, because the total area is 10 kilometers. We need same 10-kilometer area again, to store that much space or that much data. Okay, but there's other way also, guys. If I say, if you right now you can see a 10-kilometer total area, and if you want to store this 10-kilometer area in the simplest, smallest possible, how can we do? Simple, guys. You take your mobile phone, click a picture, and if you click the picture, the entire view that you can see right now of 10 kilometer or 100 kilometer will come in the smaller in one single pic. And this pic is normally known as a snapshot. Okay, something like this, guys. They are doing here. So everyday basis they keep on taking the photograph or the snapshots. Okay, and they they check. Okay, only today we don't have any change, don't create any backup. Next day, don't change, don't create any backup. Next day, there's some change, take a photo of this. Whatever data you already have, don't do any changes. Whatever data has been changed or delta or removed, just create information of this. Okay, so from there, this term come from. Okay, and this process, what I explain you, this concept is known as a snapshot. Guys, very powerful concept. We use this snapshot, guys, in multiple areas. Okay, by chance, guys, if you ever work on any SCM tool, one of the example is Git or GitHub. They also use this concept, exactly the same concept behind this. Right. So in other areas also, guys, we use this snapshot concept. So anybody who know by chance Git or GitHub, and whenever you commit any changes, so you write a code, you commit, you write a code, you commit, you write a code, commit. Every time you commit, okay, they will create a backup of this in the commit area. But in the backup, they only create a backup of the remaining part, the delta part. Your code is 100 MB in size, but you change 2 lines in the code. When you commit, they only add 2 line in the commit area. Okay, so, and don't worry, guys, if you by chance if you don't know Git or GitHub, in my upcoming class, in my AWS developer class, I will also take the class, some of the class on Git on GitHub, because there we have to use some CI/CD concept, and GitHub was useful in CI/CD. So in my developer class of AWS, I will talk about Git or GitHub or SCM tools. So by chance who don't know, don't worry, we will discuss there. But my point here is, okay, whenever you see any kind of backup, mostly nowadays, almost all the tool, mostly they use a concept of snapshots. That's what, guys, I'm trying to explain you. Okay, but yeah, wow, guys, creating the snapshot is not big deal. It's very simple to create the snapshots. So let me, guys, show you the demo of the snapshots. Okay, so right now, this OS is running. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one new hard disk. Okay, I'm going to create one new hard disk of 1 GB in size. I'm going to create in 1A, because right now my OS is running in 1A. So I have to launch my hard disk also in 1A. Guys, this is the snapshot I'm talking about. So we come to the about the snapshot in a minute, and let me give this name. This is my EBS volume for SS snapshot testing. Okay, and that's all. Hard disk created. After hard disk created, I am going to attach this hard disk, that you guys know how to attach. Okay, so let's say this is a new pen drive you purchase. New fresh empty pen drive, nothing is there, you purchase. And let's say if you talk about today, so right now the status of today is 31st of October. My pen drive is entirely empty. I'm going to add some file here. Okay, how? First of all, for this you have to go to instance. In this instance, let me connect to this instance. Okay. Guys, this is new hard disk I attached. You guys know, if you attach the new hard disk, if you see this is the new hard disk come up. If you want to store any data, you have to first create a partition here, which is a good practice. Okay, sometimes compulsory also. New, enter, 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 enter. P is created and save. Okay. So this part, guys, we discussed multiple time already. Then if you again run, you can see one partition come up. Then you have to format it. Again, that's part we discussed again multiple time. VXDG1 is formatted. And then we have to mount to store the data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a folder called um, my SS, for example, and I'm going to mount this guy into my SS folder. Mount. So guys, this is a very basic command of Linux. Multiple times we discuss, and you guys also go through my Parsons classes. But very quickly, if I can compare, so around 1 GB data has been mounted here. But if you go here, MS folder is empty. Empty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create 2 or 3 files here with cat command f1.txt, and I'm writing 111 here. I'm going to create one more file f2.txt and f3.txt. So on the first day, when I create this, attach this storage, I have 3 files. Okay, so this is the guy's status of today's. This is the today's status. We have 3 files, f1, f2, and f3. Okay. And now, because we know, guys, this file is very important. So this storage of, in my case, this total storage is 1 GB in size. Before the next day start, before the next day, 1st November come up, I would like to have a backup of this. So now it is your choice. You want to go for the traditional way of backup the entire hard disk, or you won't know, I don't want to I want entire hard disk to backup, but I also want to add some trackers from the snapshots. So from next day onward, if I again do backup, they don't do the same file backup and same data backup again and again. For this, we will do the backup. We will do the backup with the help of a snapshot. How we can do? Okay, so for this, I will go to my EC2 instance. Okay, and for this, guys, I'll go to my my volume. And guys, right now I'm using this hard disk right now. This hard disk. Okay, and this hard disk, guys, is the same hard disk where the diagram is. This hard disk. This hard disk I am using right now. So I'm going to create a backup of this hard disk, and with the help of a snapshot. Okay, and this snapshot, guys, will be backup here. Because my hard disk size is 1 GB, so intern, guys, they create one more hard disk for you of 1 GB. But here they will put all the file f1, f2, and f3. Okay, so first time it looked like a normal backup. Okay, how to create the backup? First, select the hard disk here. Sorry, first create the hard disk here and click on action, and there's option called, guys, create a snapshot. Okay, create a snapshot. Okay, I want to give some description of a snapshot for testing. Okay, and give some tags if you want to give. So this is my snapshot for test. That's all. So guys, creating the snapshot is no big deal, very simple, and one click, your snapshot created. And close. And if you want to confirm the snapshot is created or not, so in the EBS, we have a topic called a snapshot. And guys, snapshot is again the part of EBS services, because it is related to your block storage. Okay. So if you see, guys, they are pending instead, because technically we are copying the entire 1 GB. Maybe right now 1 GB hard disk is purely empty. There's some 2 or 3 file, but internally, okay, the first time, if your main hard is 100 GB, so they will give you one extra 100 GB to you. obviously it come with cost. So one more, for example, your main hard disk is 1 GB here. So first time they will create 1 GB extra hard disk for you for a snapshot, only for first time. By the future, they will add the smaller part, whatever part you change as a delta. Okay. So normally in the backup, if you do the backup per day, they will add again 1 GB, they will add again 1 GB, or maybe more than 1 GB, right? but here, but here, from next day onward, like this is the 31st October backup. Now, if I go to 1st November, they won't create 1 more GB. What a part added or removed, they will update there. Maybe 1 KB or maybe one byte also. Okay. So that is the reason first time they are taking some time. It's been completed. Now we have an entire backup created, 100% available also to use. If somebody remove some data, I can restore back, right? So entire 1 GB is backup. Now what I'm doing now next. So let's say we are on the 31st October. Let's think now next day come. Now we reach to 1st November, and what I'm going to do. So let's feel that you are in the 1st November. Okay, and what you did, you create one more file here, f4.txt 4444. Okay, and let's create one more file, f5.txt. Okay, now on the fourth next day, you add two more file. So where it is format, you add here, you add two more file, f4 f5. So in your main hard disk, guys, this is my main hard disk. So if you go to main hard disk, the first number, I added two files, but technically I can see all the file, f2 f3 f4 f4. You can see this is our main hard disk, this folder. That is my main hard disk. I am in the same folder, I can see all the files. Everything I show in the same hard disk. So according to main hard disk, now we have 5 files. But now if you do the snapshot of again of this hard disk again one more time, okay. So if I use again a snapshot and create one more snapshot of this day, so now this snapshot is become intelligent. They say you are asking to create a snapshot of the same hard disk, because in the last time I already backup of these 3 files, and now what can I see here? I can see here, this 3 file is still the same. Nothing is added in this file. Only 2 new file is added. Okay, so I will create one more backup for you. It look like again 1 more GB hard disk. It look like one more new hard disk I created, but internally I will only copy these 2 files, or I only copy only the file that, or only the line you add or removed. Okay, that's called delta part, or that one I copy. So my copy will be faster, my backup will be faster, my steps will be faster, and plus as an Amazon perspective, they will only charge you that much amount, whatever the amount we have used. Because as Amazon perspective, they feel it like 1 GB hard disk, but in this hard disk only this much part I use, and other part actually linked to this part. It's like a pointer. So finally, if anybody who do restore from this backup, they will get this part also, and part from this pointer also. So until technically they will get the entire data, but uh, but from the Amazon, I am only consuming this only delta part, so they won't charge me much. Only this much charge they charge from you. So guys, let me very quickly create one more backup of the same hard disk. So I'm going to create a backup, okay, of the same hard disk. Create a snapshot, okay, and this is my snapshot for test number 2. The second backup, that's all. And click, and if you go to snapshots, like I see this time is very quick, right? Last time I used to, guys, even the 1 GB file hard disk, it takes some time. But here just one click they copy, because very small data part is changed. It look like one more hard disk created. Let me change this name. This is backup number 2. Okay, So look like 1 more GB file created. But internally, this 1 GB contain only these two extra files, and all three files, it look like they have here, but actually internally they are pointing to this guy. Pointing means, okay, it means anybody who try to restore from here, right? So they will get the entire data of this hard disk. But this hard disk technically right now contain only F4 and F5. These two extra file I created, actually, because only delta part they copy. But internally they have pointing to all the older file also from this hard disk. So anybody who create a restore from this file, this snapshot of backup, all two file plus three files will come up. So it look like we have entire backup over here, but it's not. We don't have the entire backup. Okay, actually we have only the delta part, and other part will be pointed to my first hard disk. So like this, guys, if you keep on doing backup, they keep on doing this pointing, and referencing, and they keep on doing there. And that easy reason, guys, a snapshot is also known as point in time backup. Point in time backup. PIT. Point in time backup. Means whenever you create a snapshot, in this point in time from the last backup, what a data has been changed, only that part or delta part, they will do the backup for you. So what I'm going to do last practical to show this demo. Finally, what I'm going to do over here, okay, let's say that now this the this is the next day come up. Let's think in this way. Next day come up. Okay, this is the 2nd of November. And what I did here today, I create one more new file F6, and I am going to remove F2 file from here that I created on the first. Okay, so let me do here very quickly. So I am going to create a new file. Okay, and going to remove older file that we had on the first. That's all. So this is, guys, my today's scenario. Okay, so and now at today's, if I again do the backup, again they will create one more backup on the top of this. By this time, you know what they do? They will say we have added one more new file called F6, and maybe this F6 size maybe of 1 MB, so they will consume one more MB extra space, and they add one tag here, tag here, and say we had one file already F2, but now it's been removed. And by chance this tag is called flag. They set one flag of remove on the F2. But it look like in this backup we don't have this file, but in the last backup we have this file. So what happened, guys? What happened now? If I draw three boundaries here, okay, three boundaries here, one boundary, one boundary, and one boundary. Okay, so technically, this is the first backup, second backup, third backup, or say third snapshot or second snapshot. So anybody who will restore from this backup, they will get F6 file, F5, F4 from here, because they're pointing to these guys, and these guys pointing to these guys, F1, F2, F3. But at the time of restoring F2, we have right. As I'm restoring F2, their flag say, now this point in time, this file removed. So at the time of restoring, don't take the backup or restore of F2. But anybody who restored of day 2 or number 1. So here we have F4, F5, plus we also have reference to F1, F2, F3. So they will backup entire files. Well, let me show you this demo firstly. Let's say this 22nd November complete. Now we move to next day, 3rd November. And now here we have a requirement. Okay, by chance these guys say we are looking for F2 as a file, but somebody yesterday removed this file. Remove this file. How we can get the F2 again? But we know, guys, F2 is not located in the day 3 backup, but it's there in day 2. As in day two, we have F1, F2, F3, F4, F6, F4, F6, F4, F5. Sorry. So how we can get the the F2 file, or or I can say it is like it is like this. Every day you keep on clicking the photograph of yourself. Okay, so every day or maybe every birthday, every year you schedule every birthday you click your own photograph. Now maybe you guys are 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds or 50-year-old, right? But right now what you are, you can see right now in your mirror. But if you want to see how you was looking when you was 20-year-old or 10-year-olds, so one of the ways, just go and see your snapshot or your photograph. From this photograph you can see, hey, that 10 year ago, 20 year ago, I was looking like this. Same thing we are going to do here. Okay, so today you are here of your 40th birthday, but you want to see how you was when you are 20-year-old. So you can go and see this photograph, or you can go and use this snapshot. So whatever you have in this snapshot, you have what, F4 FI file plus this file. You will get the entire, you can see what you had, what you was, or you can restore the data. So initially maybe it looked like a little bit complex topic maybe, but if you practice 2 or 3 times, it's not actually complex. Very simple way to manage the thing. And technically you don't have to do anything. Everything is actually managed by AWS cloud, because they are the service provider. They say we'll do everything for you, don't worry. What you have to do, you just tell me when you would like to create a backup or when you would like to create a snapshots. Okay, so let me guys show you how to restore. Okay, so now we have two backup, and what I'm looking for is there in this backup. In this backup, so technically it's look like this. And guys, this is a final demo how to restore. So from main hard disk, it's called ABS technical volume. I create a backup, it's called snapshot. And now we have snapshot of day one, day two, day three. Now it is your choice on which day data you want to go back and restore the data. Let's say I'm planning to go for day one. I go to day one, or first backup or first snapshot, I can say. And from first snapshot, I would like to do my restore. So here this is called backup, and I want to get the data back again. Okay, then this is called restore. Okay, and understand one thing, guys, right? If you are creating a backup of the block hard disk, it become also block hard disk behind the scene. So if you restore, it also become the block hard disk. Block means your block device. So it is not like this, guys. You create a snapshot of of the block hard disk, and finally you restore. It is stored in the file. Okay, so when you restore, it will also become a new EBS volume. What I mean by this, let me show you. So if I click here, and there's option called create volume. Create volume. Okay, it means from the snapshot, if you want to do a restore, it become a EBS volume for you. Okay, guys, if you notice one thing, if you notice one thing, okay, they auto pick 1 GB here. Because my snapshot size is 1 GB, so they auto pick and say we are going to create a EBS volume of 1 GB. Okay, and I am putting this guy in 1B, so I can attach to my hard disk, to my same OS. And let me use, this is the EBS restore from S3 D1, for example. Okay, and let me create. That's all, guys. So it's so simple, guys. So technically, uh, this volume created. And guys, interesting thing is, whenever guys you create any volume, you have to create a partition, you have to format it, you have to mount it and put the data. But in this hard disk, guys, everything is there. My partition is there, my format is there, my data is there. Why? because this hard disk is not created directly, it is created from the backup or from the snapshot. So whatever we had in this hard disk come from this snapshot. And because I created this snapshot of day one, and according to me in my day one I had this file, so technically in this hard disk we have f1, f2 and f3, all the three files we have. But because it is like a new hard disk, and because it is new hard disk, if you want to use this hard disk, you have to always attach to each of the instance. So either you launch a new instance, or you can attach this hard disk to the same instance. So what I'm going to do, this hard disk I'm going to attach to the same instance to check what they have. So either you can attach the new OS, or because the volume, EBS volume, or you can attach to the new instance. That would be your choice. Okay. Now in this OS, if you run every subpanel, let me if you notice, guys, this hard disk was with me, not with me. So because I attached one more new extra volume, one G file come up. But this time, if you notice, guys, for my OS, it is new hard disk, but we don't have to get the partition. They come with the partition created. Why? Because this hard disk is a hard disk created from the snapshot, and snapshot had had the partition created. Okay, and now if you mount, mount, you guys have to do manually because it is a OS operation. So let's say M1 folder I created, and I mount. And guys, you notice one thing: whenever guys you create a new partition, you have to format it. But this time you don't have to format without format mounted, because this hard disk is come from snapshot. And snapshot, guys, we take the snapshot from from this volume. So this guys, hard disk, we already created partition, we already formatted, and we already put the data. So whatever we had in this hard disk come in the snapshot, and whatever we have the snapshot, if you again restore, this new volume or new hard disk will have the same thing. And now if you go to this M1 folder, okay, guys, here I haven't created any file, but you see all the three files come up. And guys, I had removed this file, right? But this file again come up with the data also come up. Or maybe you remove the file, maybe you added some data in the file, or edit or remove some files data also, so that data also will come up. Okay, so guys, this is the way it work. So but with the snapshot, guys, there's a lot of things we can do. Same technology you can use to attach the volume of 1A to 1B, to attach the volume from Mumbai to US regions. So all those things, guys, you can also achieve. I will show you guys this demo tomorrow. Otherwise, it will be a lot of confusing here. Okay, but this demo you can use. So finally, finally, if you look at this screen, your mean storage, your mean storage of volume is this one. Okay, is this one, 1 GB. And we keep on working on this storage. Okay, adding, removing per day, per month, or per hourly basis. And you keep on creating a backup or a snapshot here. Maybe let's say every hour you create a backup. So every day backup 1 come, backup 2 come, backup 3 come. Okay, it look like 1 GB, but technically they won't charge you 1 GB. First they charge you 1 GB, but next backup they will charge you internally the remaining part, or the delta part. Okay, so every day or every hourly you have backup, and in the future when you want to jump back or go back, okay, or restore back to any of the date or any of the backup, pick that particular backup and create a new volume of this. And this hard disk will be used by your team, other team, other OS. whoever want to use this backup, they will use. Okay, that's what how it works. But right now, guys, we have created this backup manually, but this is a very common practice in the corporate. We want to create a backup automatic, or I can say schedule. So for this, guys, we are going to use this concept called life cycle manager, where we can schedule our backup. They will do automatic backup for us, or some more things we can do there. So guys, there are a lot of things in the snapshot I don't want to discuss today. Now I want best just create this kind of scenario and test those skills. So tomorrow, guys, will come back and see some more advanced things about the snapshots. So that's all for today, guys. And any questions, any things you have, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will conclude the things. Yes, Pawan, I will discuss about AWS NVM and ENA driver is a new optimized network driver they updated. So in my networking classes, okay, I will discuss about this driver, especially when I'm talking about performance. Even though in new examination of AWS, they ask you question about ENA drivers. So don't worry, Pawan, in my performance discussion of networking and storage, I will take this topic. Why there is no snapshot ephemeral storage? Others, I don't think so. In the ephemeral storage, we have a meaning of snapshot, because snapshot is a actually technology, I can say, concepts, uh, because ephemeral is a instant store backup, right? So again, they're temporary nature, right? So there's no meaning to get a backup or other things. We can create a backup of ephemeral. There's a different way using a third party tool. Okay, but AWS perspective, I don't think so. They give the option of creating a backup of its snapshot. Why? Because the ephemeral, and what exactly the meaning of ephemeral? When I explain you in my virtual assistant class, others, you come to know why they haven't created a snapshot for the ephemeral storage. But if you ask me, can we do a backup of ephemeral from the Amazon? We can't, but yeah, we can use some third party tool that we have to manage ourselves to get the snapshot or to get the backup both. No, Manan, we don't need. Sorry, ephemeral. Yes, we have to format amount. It's like a normal hard disk. It's like a normal hard disk. Mm, Device wise or the hardware media wise, they are different, but the process of formatting and mounting would be the same. How the practical of connecting pen drive in AWS. Now, Pankaj, this is one task I have given to you, but my today's class of discussion of iSCSI might give you the idea how we can connect one storage from one laptop to other laptops. So if you connect your pen drive in your like local laptop, so you can think your laptop is like a storage unit, and you want to connect this pen drive to the EC2 instance. So the way AWS using the iSCSI server, the same way you have to configure. So obviously in my training, I can't discuss iSCSI server here, but I have given a lot of idea. Just try to search something about iSCSI server, how to configure. It is pretty simple to do configure, but just try and then try to implement this task. Yes, Ishika, you are right. My spelling might be wrong here. Ephemeral spelling. So EPEHMARL. So so if you talk about the ephemeral, so this is the right spelling of the storage. PHERL. So guys, this is the spelling for the ephemeral storage. Okay, lasting for a short lifetime, right? Like temporary. So this is the spelling of the ephemeral, or I can say ephemeral storage. Okay. So it's a volatile memory while the runtime of the instance. That's what I told you. That this spelling of the framework. What is constraint? Nothing special here, but it is just a name I can say. So AWS has created a cloud, and they say technology wise it the thing something support, but I write in the code that I don't support this. I won't allow this. So that's called constraint to limit something. To limit something. Yes, Sukesh, you can say snapshot is a type of backup. You can say the multiple different kind of backups available. Snapshot is one of the type of backup. You can say. No, Subhash says maybe you might facing some network delay, right? Even though all the main snaps, all the main steps I put in my Google Drive as such, you won't miss. Okay, but if you see my screen is freezing, so maybe network delay might be from your side. I think Apritam, we have already discussed streaming builder, right? We discussed already stream builder class in my Flutter. Stream builder, I think we discussed already, and some of the app we some of the app we use stream builder in my Flutter classes. These EBS type concepts are used in, yes, I use the concept of that their service name may be different. Maybe their service name is block storage. Here we use EBS, but concept wise they are they have the snapshot, they're using iSCSI or FC. Concept wise they are absolutely the same. Okay, so next topic is it's look like GitHub. I can say, Vijay, maybe it look like GitHub, or even though I can say GitHub also use the same concept behind the same. Right? So snapshot is a general concept. Normally we use this concept a lot in storage, but other kind of tools also use. Please increase the speed of teaching. Yes, hers. Everybody has a different speed of teaching, so I'll try to take a speed in such a way that everybody get the concept, because my plan is not to uh, only to complete this training, right? My plan also that everybody understood the concept. Okay, but maybe in some of the concept you guys know already, so it look like very slow, but not for everyone. Not everyone know everything. Yes, yes, Rahul. This is a right term. Snapshot like a versioning. So anywhere you heard this term called versioning, behind the scene they are using a snapshot. So if you know GitHub or Git, so they are using versioning. Why and how is possible the versioning is because they have the snapshot. Snapshot का service, guys, snapshot will doing the backup not in the EBS. Maybe tomorrow class I will discuss. Snapshot behind the scene store the data in S3. It is not visible to us. Amazon will use store internally somewhere in the S3. Okay, uh, and because they are storing the S3, so we'll get extra benefit of the snapshot. What exactly we will discuss, guys, in my tomorrow class. Yes, Rudra, we can use S3 for backup purpose also. There's a multiple purpose where we are going to use S3, even though Snapshot also behind the scene use S3. Okay, we can't see it, but they use behind the scene. But other purpose also we can use. Snapshot service is free, Dhananjay, in a free tier, but for some limit in the storage size. Okay, so I think 30 GB storage size you have, right, in the free tier. So in if you come into this tier, that much size is free for a snapshot. Ajay, I told you maybe tomorrow we will discuss about how to schedule the snapshot, right? Yes, Anupam, we can create a backup of traditional way also. I have some discussion on this to have an entire backup, how we can do in S3. Sorry, not in S3, in AWS we'll discuss. No, Weber snapshot is not at all the same as AMI or the ISO file. You can think you have a pen drive, okay? And if you want to get a backup of pen drive, how we can do? So snapshot is one who will help you to create a backup. But they will do a backup point in time. So next day you do backup, they won't back up the entire pen drive. They will only back up the remaining part or what a part you change or your increment part. They will do the backup for you. Yes, Himanshu, we can also create the snapshot of root volume also. Okay, so any kind of, because I told you root volume or persistent volume are two different name, but behind the scene both the guys are using EBS. So if you have any hard disk come from EBS, you can create the snapshot. What do you mean by lost and found folder in EBS? Lost and found folder is not actually the concept of EBS. It is a concept for Linux. So if you create any new person in Linux and format, they create a lost and found folder. Why? Sometime guys it happen. If you guys go through my Python classes, they had discovered about inner table by chance. Do some kind of uh, uh, some kind of issues in the hard disk, your file lose the inode table and they miss the inode number. Okay, so those files that don't have the inode number due to some reason will be go to the lost and found folder. So at the time of or at the time of parson cleaning or scanning or removing the bad blocks, they always look on the lost and found folder to restore the file. So it's a long concept to understand right now. Why didn't we use ADM shuttle command? Because guys, whenever you create any parcel in the Linux, okay, you have to reload the driver. In Red Hat version 8, if you want to reload the driver, then the command is udev ADM shuttle. But this OS guys is not the Red Hat 8. So the OS that I'm using here is called Amazon Linux. Okay, so we don't have to use udev ADM shuttle command here. Udev ADM shuttle command is mainly for Red Hat version 8. Abhinav, we don't have to deal with the duplicate data. That is the code of internal of the snapshot. That's what guys snapshot work, right? Is now say we will see the same data. Next day, if you have same data, right? I won't create an extra copy of this. This called duplicate, and this issue called duplicacy issue. Okay, to save your space and storage and your cost also. So somehow we have some internal mechanism. I can't discuss right now, but it's a very long discussion again. Maybe in my Git classes, I will discuss those things in detail actually. So we have some mechanism. If I see the same data available in this file or same line, okay, same character. So I won't create one more copy of this. I will only create a copy of the delta part. This is by default behavior of the snapshot. There's a reason we want a snapshot, right? And so how they deal, there's an internal mechanism for this, but yeah, snapshot will automatically handle this part for you. How many EBS we can attach in this? As such, Abhinav, there is no theoretical limit. Technically, in the real world, we don't have to attach more actually. 5, 10, maybe more than enough. Okay, but technically, you can add as much as you can. You can. There might be some kind of software limit because the storage is not coming in the USB. Like in laptop, we have a limit of USB, right? But here, this storage attached to our instance look like connecting to a USB port. Okay, but actually it's coming from networking, because it's coming from networking, so we can attach as much as we can. I don't understand, Gagandev, what you're talking about. Which example you you are talking about here? Which examples you're talking about here? Don't worry, guys. Guys, if guys, by chance, if you're very much new in the backup concept, even though I try to explain you backup from very basics, but if you practice 2 or 3 more times, it become very much simpler. No, Dhavanil, today we don't have Python class today. Might be tomorrow we'll do, but today we don't have IIC class. Yes, Sumit, that I can definitely try. That I can definitely try. Okay, I will try to list them. Even though I do always write in my all the classes when I start the class, I always do. Um, I start with agenda for per day basis. But even though I also try to share the agenda before the class start in your WhatsApp group, I'll definitely try. Yes, we can encrypt the snapshot. Weber. Maybe tomorrow I will discuss about the encryption. Maybe, or maybe I have to first take some extra class on cryptography so that everybody can properly link the concept of encryption. But yeah, snapshot we can encrypt. Yes, I use that's what you can try with, right? Yes, you can target your local pen drive to the IS port of EC2 instance. And if you achieve this, the task that I given to you to connect the local pen drive to the EC2 or EC2 hard disk to local laptop, you can achieve. How can I become like you? You guys will be more conceptually strong guys than me soon. Yes, Tirimula, you can boot the OS on the pen drive also. On the pen drive also. So, so where you install the OS in the local hard disk, attach the pen drive, right? And you can directly install the OS directly on the pen drive also, and it work normal, right? When the Terraform class start, maybe Prasant, we will soon launch a Terraform class also. But right now we have launched one classes of Reddit on Ansible from this 3rd of November. But maybe after the Ansible, we might launch Terraform. Can we use EBS without formatting? No, actually, Gaurav, any storage that you want to use that to be format first. That will format first, right? So, so technically, if EBS give you new storage to you, normally they give, okay, then you have to format it first. But you have to format only once, right? Manali, you're getting some error of dbus connection operation not formatted. I think this error you might get inside the Docker. I think so. In my Docker classes, I will give you the answer how you can solve this problem. Yes, Solanki, you can say snapshot means incremental backup. Yes, you are right. Yes, Sushil, we can increase the size of EBS volume. Maybe tomorrow I will show you how we can on the fly increase the size of EBS volume that has been attached. What kind of exact technology behind the snapshot? Um, Actually, I can say there are a lot of things they have. One of the things they have hashes, checksum, especially the hashes, I can say. But I think I'll give you more clarity what kind of not technology, but of concepts they use behind the scene in the snapshot when I go for SCM tool like GitHub. So with there we go more. I can visualize you there how they link together. There's no SS technology, but they are using some kind of uh, concepts and some kind of program to do the things. No, Sagar, NFS is different. ISCS is different. Like a lot of guys are confused with these things. NFS is a protocol for NAS, network attached storage. ISCSI is a protocol for SAN, storage area network. Look like same, but very different use case they solve. Okay, so when take the topic of EFS, they will explain you what NFS do for you. Yes, Vishal, we have Boto 3 in this program. In this program means right now I'm taking two program in parallel, AWS CSA and AWS developer. So anybody who are in the AWS developer, so in the developer course, we're going to use Boto 3. Hers, if you don't have to know about subnetting, I think you're talking about VPC. But if you have an idea in subnetting, you can do lots of things there. But as such, if you don't know anything of VLSM or FLSM means subnetting, that is okay. Can we take a snapshot EC2? Technically, EC2 is nothing, Prakash. We normally take a snapshot of the storage. So when you say you have to take the snapshot EC2, it means all the storage that is connected to EC2, especially the root disk, we have to take a snapshot. So answer is, can you take the snapshot of the root device? Answer yes. Yes, you can take. But now, yes, we will discuss in the AWS developer classes about DCVS services. As such, core right now, I conducted one program on a Red Hat OpenStack. Now we don't have in our plan, so we don't have in a plan at least for 6 months at least for OpenStack. Yes, by default, so with all the events are accessible to admins, but we can give the right to other users also to see the events. I think you're talking about the cloud trail. Yes, lifecycle policy we will Kumar will discuss. I will again go back to S3 as and when we do require, and there I explain you lifecycle policy of S3. Siraj, how you asked me how AWS launch instance so fast. When I take my class of virtualization, there I explain you how EC2 instance launch and how what the mechanism they use behind the scene. There I will explain this concept why they are fast. Yes, Mukil, actually, when you create a new snapshot, second time, they might show you 1 more GB extra. Again, they show you 1 more GB extra, but internally they only consuming the delta part space, and Amazon also is only charging you the delta part only. When we connect root to the EBS, does it automatic? No, actually, Bhavansu, it is not like this. All right, whenever you create a root device, it come from EBS, and when because on the root device your OS will install, and when OS install, OS will automatically create a parcel for you. Okay, so EBS doesn't means whenever you install any OS like Windows or Red Hat, they will create a parcel for you automatically. Okay, it's work like this. Do you have any plan for DevOps MLOps? No, there is no plan for MLOps, guys. We won't launch MLOps again. But DevOps, DevOps come with multiple different tools. One of the main tool is called Ansible. So that's from 3rd of November we are starting. So you can we can join. You can join Ansible for to complete one of the module of DevOps. EBS, Ravi, is a root, right? Your root volume is EBS only. Yes, Beanstalk, Subham, we will cover in this training. Beanstalk. Can we upgrade to AWS developer also? Please share the link on the chat. I don't know, Uday. I don't know. I will ask my team if we have a provision for upgrading now to developer. They will share the link. uh, all the snapshot is for the same data center in a region. All the snapshot is for the same data center in the region. Amrish, I can't. The question might not means it's not clear to me what exactly you are asking. What you're asking, but if your question is if you create a snapshot, the snapshot is stored in a region. Answer is yes. When you create a snapshot, behind the snapshot, they create the snapshot in your region. Why I'm saying this, because tomorrow when I use the snapshot to create uh, a hard disk in other AG, I will explain this that part. But if your question is this one, so yes, a snapshot is stored in your region. No, Ankit, there's no meaning of security. So if you ask me, snapshot is more secure than normal backup. It is not like this. Okay, backup is backup. Snapshot is giving a different facility or different approach to create a backup. Okay, but if you're security, security you have to add extra. So what is security you can do on snapshot, we can do normal backup and vice versa. Okay, so it is not like this. Snapshot is more secure because here there's no meaning of security, but we can add security on the top of this. Can't they can be taken on other deal. Yes, Amrit, that's what we will do tomorrow. This will do tomorrow. We will take a snapshot of this DC and will copy in the other DC. Okay, so I think I understood what you're talking about. Tomorrow, this will be one of the demo. We'll see. Disk imaging and snapshot is the same concept. Yes, Mahendra, somehow you can say, right? Because if you want to create an image, right, we have to take the path of snapshot. Technically, there's a different thing, but if you want to create an image, or I can say EMI image, right? Snapshot is the one who will help you to create the image. So it's this reason I say it's somehow the same. So, guys, I'll try to touch as much as query I have, but my most of query will be come in discuss in the upcoming class, guys. So I just want to conclude the guys today's class. See you tomorrow again the same time, 6 p.m. and we'll see some more concept of snapshot and some other concepts also. That's all, guys, for today, and see you guys tomorrow.